Hello and welcome to my War Thunder Flight Model Analysis series. For this episode I'll be doing the Republic P-47D Thunderbolt, and just as a quick clarification before I go on, I am not in any way asking for things to be nerfed or buffed. What I am asking for is for things to be made historically authentic, as per stated in Gaijin's goal for this game. Now before I get into any of the actual testing of the aircraft, let's just take a quick look here at the stat card. Gaijin endorsed stats. As you can see here, the top speed is around 430 miles per hour at about 27,000 feet. And what many people actually mistake this for is the never exceed speed, when this is actually just the top speed that this thing will reach in a straight line at a certain altitude, which you can see there. The turn time and rate of climb are actually kind of irrelevant, though, due to the fact that they don't really give any context as to how these stats were actually achieved. Alright, in our first test we'll start off with the top speed. Now what you're looking at here is a chart with several different top speeds measured at several different altitudes. Now in real life this aircraft did not perform the same at every single altitude it flew at, for a variety of reasons. But basically what I did here to test the max speed is I took the max speed from sea level, from 10,000 feet, 20,000, and 30,000, and I tested the aircraft at those altitudes, and I tried to see what type of speed I could get up to. Now as you can see from the data, the P-47 is actually a very fast plane, and for whatever reason people seem to think that this aircraft is slow. While it is not slow, it is definitely not quick, and what people are mistaking its speed for is actually its acceleration. Now, as you can see from this chart, the P-47, as the heaviest single-engine fighter of World War II, is definitely not the fastest accelerator around, but that certainly does not make it slow. Now what you can see me testing here is the P-47's sea level top speed, and as you can see it's teetering between 343 and 342 miles per hour, which is actually 10 miles per hour faster than its supposed sea level top speed. And here I'm testing the top speed at 10,000 feet, and as you can see it's varying between 375 and 376 miles per hour, which is actually a few miles per hour over what it's supposed to be. Again, it's performing very well. Now at 20,000 feet, I only managed to get the thing up to what it's supposed to fly at, 406 miles an hour. I think it actually at one point went up to 407 but went right back down. But again, it's performing like it should. And again at 30,000 feet, the P-47 is performing like it should. In real life, the top speed at this altitude was 433 miles per hour, and guess what it got up to in this game? Now on to what's most near and dear to historical battles players' hearts, rate of climb. Now what I did to test this is I just averaged every rate of climb up to 30,000 feet and tested it. Now, as you can see, my P-47 is fully upgraded. I'm not doing this with a stock P-47, and I am also doing this with a full tank of fuel, because that's how they did it in real life, whenever testing the rate of climb. And basically how I'm going to test this is I'm going to take off, and the second I take off the ground, I will start a stopwatch on my phone, and however long it takes to get up to 30,000 feet, I will let you know. And I will be climbing at usually I will be climbing at a rate of around 160 miles per hour, because in a different graph that I did not show you, that is the rate of climb that it said that these aircraft were, at least the P-47s were tested in their rate of climb. So that's usually between 15 and 20 degrees of climb, and I'll let you know how long it takes. And 12 minutes later, I'm finally here, and that averages out to about 12.7 meters per second rate of climb, or 42 feet per second. And the real-life version of the P-47 averaged out to about 11. Now onto the P-47's dive acceleration. As you can see from this chart, the P-47 should dive marginally faster than the Mustang, but also slightly slower than the Tempest. And the way I'm going to test this is I'm going to go into a straight 90-degree vertical dive, and the second that my speed reaches 500 miles per hour, I cut off the timer. And then I pull up and the aircraft doesn't break. That's a good sign. Now let's compare the P-51D Mustang to the Thunderbolt. Now, if this game is accurate, and the planes are represented accurately, the Mustang will actually dive marginally slower than the Thunderbolt. And it doesn't. In fact, the Thunderbolt actually dives more than a whole second slower. Alright, now let's test it in comparison to the Tempest. The Tempest should actually dive a little bit faster. And the Tempest does indeed dive faster. And by the way, all of these planes that I'm testing are fully upgraded. Now on to the roll rate. Now I want you to take a good look at this chart and see which aircraft is above and below the Thunderbolt, and I'm going to be testing each of those aircraft in comparison to the Thunderbolt at these different speeds. Now let's see how fast the Spitfire Mark 9 rolls on 4 seconds. The Mustang is also around 4 seconds, 4.2. And the Thunderbolt at 250 miles per hour is 3.8, so about the same, if not faster. Now onto the 190A5 at 350 miles per hour, 2.6. The Thunderbolt at 250 is 4.8. Actually got worse. Now onto the Tempest. The roll rate at 350 miles an hour is just absolutely abysmal. And the roll rate of the Thunderbolt at 450 is around the same as it was at 350. For some reason the roll rate doesn't seem to increase at high speeds like it should. Now onto the energy retention in a zoom climb. In its basic physics in aerial combat, that heavier aircraft will tend to retain energy better in a zoom climb because they resist parasitic drag more than a lighter plane. So what I basically did was I took two planes of similar weights, the P-47D Thunderbolt and the F4U-1C, and around 500 miles an hour at about 500 feet, I just pulled up into a vertical climb, a zoom climb, and saw how high I could get. I say they're of similar weights, but the average weight of the Corsair was actually around 2,000 pounds lighter than the average combat weight of the P-47. So in theory, the P-47 should zoom climb slightly better than the Corsair. You can see once I level off at around 100 miles an hour, I'm at about 8,700 feet. Now testing it with the P-47 Thunderbolt, I zoom climb again from about 500 feet at around 500 miles an hour. And again, let me remind you that there is margin for error in these experiments. And again, I'm going to level off once my plane hits around 100 miles an hour. And I get up to about 8,100 feet once my plane was at 100 miles an hour. It zoom climbs slightly worse than the Corsair. Now on to the turn time of this strictly boom and zoom plane. As you can see from this chart, there's not much to be seen, but there are aircraft that supposedly have similar turn circles to the Thunderbolt, and we'll test some of those now. Alright, I'm in my BF-109 G2, and my friend is matched up in his Thunderbolt. We have the exact same upgrades, and we're starting at the same altitude, at the same speed, at the same point, and we just turn in opposite directions and see who has gun sights first. And I get the first shot off, and according to my friend, I started shooting at him pretty significantly before he had gun sights on me. And now I'm in my 190. And this aircraft is not the best turner. And he gets guns on me way before I can even attempt to shoot. So it turns better than a 190, but a 109 can give it more than a run for its money, at least at low altitudes. That's all I have for you this time, guys. If you want to see different planes, suggest them in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one.